Howdy folks, this just in, the 2024 Acura TLX Type S, and I have a million papers here. This is all from Acura, all of these papers to tell you what's new for 2024. And this is the key fob. Now the reason I'm showing you the key fob, normally I don't care about that, aside from the fact that it's got a cool little racy stripe around it, is the fact that if you have this key in hand, I guarantee you, you will be one of the favorites when you pull into the restaurant parking lot, the hotel parking lot, or your friend's house, because this is one of the best looking cars in its class. It's a fact. You guys wanna argue with me? Fine, go ahead and argue with me. But what I'm gonna be telling you about in this video is what is new for 2024, and in addition, what we at TFL will be doing with it, because believe it or not, yeah, we're gonna make it go fast. But there's more. Okay, you are looking at a 355 horsepower 3-liter V6 single turbo that puts out 354 pound-feet of torque. Now it's hooked up to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and it can feed up to 70% of the torque to the rear axle, and then up to 100% of that torque side by side. Side to side, I should say, side by side. Side to side, that's what I meant. Now, that is the super handling all-wheel drive system that Acura is known for. I have had a sip of that Kool-Aid and I agree with them. It's actually a really good system. It behaves like it's a rear drive car when you really push it. You can get the tail out. You can actually get this thing to do things that normally a rear drive bias vehicle would do. However, it is technically front wheel drive bias in terms of the configuration of this engine. Oh, and by the way, combined MPG is 21. There we go. Let's fire this puppy up. Now what you're going to see here are two 12.3-inch screens. This is new. And you have the ELS studio system that's part of this. We'll get to that in a second. But what you can't see here, and it's difficult to get on camera, is there is also a larger than 10-inch display for the heads up right here. Not the largest in the class, but it's pretty big and it's effective. Couple things to point out. One of the biggest complaints that I've had with this car and some other Acura products, and frankly some Honda products, is the lack of a gear lever, especially in a performance car, and they still maintain the buttons, which is something that some of you guys don't mind and some of you do. I'm just gonna leave that out there. However, you do have this, which is dynamic mode. You rotate it, you have a really cool sound, and then the screen up there does some cool stuff. Check that out. That's sport, wait, sport. And then there's normal. They even got the color right with the car, that's so cool. And comfort. This is another thing that is contentious to some people, and that is this touchpad to access everything up here. Oh, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. Can't touch the screen, doesn't work. As much as I love this car, yeah, frankly, I'm not thrilled about that either. Okay. With all that being said, those are the only two negatives really about this vehicle on the inside. The cockpit is extremely comfortable. I am a big person. I do fit comfortably back here. Now, if I sit behind myself, you're gonna see that I won't have a ton of leg room, but just enough to get by. This is really a driver-centric cockpit. Okay, a couple other things to talk about. Now, first of all the materials that are around me are soft touch. Everything that I can reach out and touch is high quality. It is up there with the Germans as far as I'm concerned, and pretty damn close to Lexus. It's pretty cool stuff. All in all, one of the more comfortable interiors, and when you throw this thing around a corner, you have just enough grab on the seat to hold even a large human being like me in place. I don't know if you guys agree with me. There aren't that many V6s that sound particularly good out there. Some of them sound downright horrible. The Italians are really good at making a good sounding V6, but every once in a while you'll come up to another company that gets the most out of it, and I think that Acura has managed to do so. Now, I'm not gonna hoon this car too much, but I wanted to prove something here. I'm gonna just turn the wheel really hard and accelerate just a little bit, so the cameraman's gonna get a little nauseous, but we're cool. A little bit of acceleration. That was the rear end that was making that noise. because it just immediately thought, I need to send all the torque to the back, and I want to make sure that I'm pushing around that corner and making sure this idiot Hooner has all the traction needed. So that meant also that it was taking the torque and moving it to the correct wheel. I love that. Listen to this. Doesn't that sound great? And you saw those big old exhaust pipes in the back, right? So they make a really pleasant sound. That was comfort mode, by the way. And I'm gonna go into sport mode. And the reason why I'm going into sport mode, aside from that changes the algorithm of shifting, acceleration, by the way, which they have enhanced acceleration a little bit in the new model, but also, check this out. Oh. Woo, I love it. One of the best sounding V6s in its class, I say. So, best looking car, best sounding V6, I'm already in love. And I love a good value. And at the end of this video, we'll talk about the value of this vehicle, which for the money gives you an awful lot of tech, and it gives you this fantastic drivetrain. Alrighty, now I have in front of me the sticker. Now before you guys freak out on the pricing, let me first tell you who this competes against. So the Audi S4, the BMW M30i, the Genesis G70 with the 3.3 liter turbo, and the Cadillac CT5V. Now those vehicles, this one sits sort of in the middle in terms of pricing and in terms of performance. But there are a couple interesting things you might not know. For one thing, its track width is up to 2 inches wider than some of those competitors. It's actually got a very wide gate going to it, which I think makes it look a little bit more manly and macho. But it also is one of the tighter ones in terms of interior space. So it's an unusual mix. Oh, and one of the larger trunks in class. Is it the most powerful? No. As a matter of fact, one of the more powerful ones out there would be the Genesis, and that one is a relative bargain. So let's first of all talk about those prices. Now, the Audi S4, that goes between $55,000 and $61,000, depending on how you know, there's like various trim levels, of course, but once you add to that vehicle, you can get it well into the mid $60,000 zone. The same goes for the BMW M40i, which does have a starting price of around $57,000. The Genesis G70 starts at $52,000, and to get it evenly equipped with this one, it still undercuts this significantly. So that is definitely the bargain one out there. And then the Cadillac CT5V, that one also starts around $52,000. However, you get that one fully equipped and it will go over this price. So what is that price? Well, according to the sticker, starting price is $57,000. This one comes in at $58,795. Now bear in mind that is with, and this is what the paint color is called, Urban Gray. Urban Gray. Okay. In the future, we're going to be doing some performance testing with this vehicle, and you're going to have all the boys jumping in this. Everybody's been jonesing to get the keys, but because they all left for breakfast, I grabbed the keys first in order to make this video, and more importantly, to drive the car. Thanks for joining me. Stay tuned for a lot more coming up with what I think is the most attractive Acura ever made.